What's up guys? In this video, we are gonna budget for 1 year of studies at the London College of Fashion. Now London is a very expensive city, so you're gonna wanna save every penny that you can. In this video, I'm gonna try and pick the most affordable options for accommodation, flights, food, transport, etc. Plus give you some money saving tips for surviving in London so that you don't struggle too much financially. We are also gonna maintain a budget planner throughout in GBP that looks like this. So let's begin. Beginning with course fees. For undergraduate courses like the BA in Fashion Design Technology, the BSc in Fashion Management, etc., the fee is £25,970 for 1 year of the course for an international student. Similarly, for postgraduate courses like the MA in Fashion Design Management, which I personally did, the fee is also 25,970 GBP for the entire course, which is just 1 year. The course fee, of course, is a non-negotiable fee, so in my budget planner, I'm going to put down the undergraduate and the postgraduate fee because one of these two is most likely what you guys are applying for. Now let's move to flights. So there are a variety of flights available from India to London, like Emirates, Etihad, even Air India and Indigo, but the prices for these tickets are pretty close to one another. If you are flying from up north, like Delhi, a direct flight will be 9.5 hours, whereas from the south, say Bangalore, a direct flight will be about 11 hours. However, direct flights, as convenient as they are also more expensive, starting at about £750, which is why most of us students, we take the flights with a single stop or a single layover at cities like Doha, Abu Dhabi, etc. With this single layover, most tickets will start at about £350. But also, unfortunately, your total flight duration could go up to 13 to 14 hours. I even saw one flight at 22 hours. I personally love layovers because I get to explore cool airports like Hamad International Airport at Qatar. But when you guys fly, just make sure to have a layover of at least 2 hours so that you have ample time to catch your next flight. Also, if you are okay with taking flights that have 2 stops or 2 layovers, such flights are occasionally available and are priced at about £200, which are much cheaper but probably not that convenient. And again, it might take like 24 hours or more to get to London. But it all comes down to your personal preference. So for our budget, I'm going to put down an estimate of £700 for a round trip to and from London, assuming that we take the flight with a single layover, which costs about £350. Next, let's look at accommodation. So LCF, or UAL rather, offers 14 halls of residence, namely these. Each one of these halls have their own types of rooms, like standard rooms, twin rooms, studios, etc. I am listing below in the description the different prices that each residence offers rooms at. But the most affordable options that they have are Cordwainers Court, Portland House, and Fursdown Student Village. Now, Cordwainers Court firstly offers a standard room with a shared bathroom at £185.5 a week. Portland House, on the other hand, has standard premium twin rooms starting at £165 a week. They also have a large twin room at £171.5, a premium large twin room at £174, and a deluxe twin at £179. And then we have Fursdown Student Village and Cedars Hall, which has standard rooms with a shared bathroom at £192.5 a week. And these options are the most affordable ones that UAL has. Now, what I would do if I were you is to mail the LCF team at this email address and find out where my classes will be held. Then I would choose my accommodation based on that so that I can save up on my transport costs. So LCF actually has 6 buildings placed in different parts of London as seen here. So I would first figure out which of these buildings I need to get to for my classes. Now personally for me, when I was studying, I found that my classes were at the buildings at John Princes Street and High Holborn, both of which were in central London. And all these affordable options were about 4 to 8 miles away, meaning that I would have to take a bus ride of about 30 to 40 minutes one way. And that to me, it was a waste of time. So it's totally up to your preference, but in my case, I chose not to stay at the UAL accommodation mainly because of the distance and to some extent the price. Now instead I stayed at a place called ISH, or the International Students House, which is located right in central London on a street called Great Portland Street. The biggest advantage with ISH is that it is affordable and it was less than 2 miles to both the LCF buildings in which I had my classes. So I ended up walking to class each time, getting my daily exercise and spending literally zero on travel costs. I initially started at Ish in a twin room, which is currently priced at £182 a week. I then moved to a quad room, which is £105 a week. And yes, a quad room has 4 girls, because Ish is where I realized that I loved having roommates. Now, since I stayed at Ish the entire year, I can tell you a bit more about it. The students are from all over the world, of course, and from different universities in London. Regarding rooms, they have single rooms, twin rooms, quad rooms, and studios for students. I'm going to leave a link below in the description for you guys to see more details about each room. So Ish also offers meal plans for students, which I will say the food is average. But about cooking, Ish has these big communal kitchens that all the students use together. Apart from that, each floor in the buildings has these tiny kitchenettes with microwaves, kettles, etc. that you can use. Tap water is drinkable and free of cost. All rooms come with basic furniture like a bed, a table, chairs, etc. I would say that the rooms and the bathrooms were clean and perfectly adequate if you prefer living a simple life. Because it was located in central London, the best things to see like concerts or art fairs, etc. Everything happening was within walkable distance for me, and the entire year I barely had to use transport. From this location, you also have access to bus stops, the tube, supermarkets, etc. Also note that at Ish, you need to book the rooms way in advance to get them because they are highly sought after due to their affordability. Accommodation applications usually open in the first week of April every year. You can mail them at this email ID. So Ish is definitely the accommodation that I would recommend. Now, if you are specifically looking for an Indian crowd of students, then another affordable option is the YMCA Indian Students Hostel, which is also in central London in a place called Fitzroy Square. The best thing about YMCA again is great location, and they have an Indian restaurant there with the best, most authentic Indian food that you will find in London. Also, it's very affordable, people are kind and friendly, except it's basically a little India there and you sort of miss out on the whole international student experience. I forgot to mention, in case you guys are wondering about utilities like electricity, gas, etc., it's all usually covered by your accommodation in the weekly rent itself. But make sure to double check about this before you finalize any rental payments from your end. So for the budget, let's assume that we are picking the accommodation at Ish. For a year, it will cost you £8,736. Now let's move to transport. So if you end up getting accommodation that is very close to your LCF building, like me, your transport cost will be nil. But if you end up needing to travel, then students either take the bus, which is the cheapest way to get around London, or they take the underground, aka the tube, which is like the metro. For both the bus and the tube, the most affordable way to pay as a student is to get an Oyster card. You can also use a UK-issued contactless payment card. There are also a few international contactless payment cards that you can use, but you need to check if they first work in the UK and if they have any transaction fee attached to them. A fourth option is, more recently, London introduced payment via Google Pay and Apple Pay. But if you don't have any of these last 3 options, an Oyster card is your best choice. Now, an Oyster card looks like this. It's just a card that you recharge with money and you use it to travel around London with, because the bus and the tube do not accept cash. There are different types of Oyster cards, but students generally use the pay-as-you-go Oyster card, which you add money to or top up as and when you need. Now, how do you get an Oyster card? You can buy one at the entrance to tube stations. You can even get them at airports, and the cost for one is £7. You can also order them online, but people usually don't recommend this because it takes like 1 or 2 weeks to arrive. And how do you use it? To pay, all you need to do is touch your Oyster card on the yellow card reader that's placed at the entrances and the exits of buses and tube stations. Oh yes, reminder to touch out when you are leaving. Now with your Oyster card, let's discuss the cost to travel on the bus and the tube. For buses, London has these double-decker buses and the bus fare to go anywhere is £1.75, however near or far your stop is. It's a flat rate. If you have to get down and switch to multiple buses, know that within a day there is a fare cap at £5.25, which means that you can travel by bus as much as you want in a day and you will only be charged a maximum of £5.25, provided you are using the same card throughout. Another plus point is that within 1 hour, you can transfer to another bus and the second bus will be completely free of cost. So just make sure you catch the second bus within 1 hour and you are using the same card. This is what London calls the hopper fare. Now let's talk about the underground or the tube. London's tube actually has the highest metro fares in the world. How much you pay actually depends on when you travel. If you travel during peak hours, you will be paying more. If you travel during off-peak hours, you will be paying less. The price also changes depending on where you travel to and from within London. Now, you guys probably already know this, but London is divided into zones. At the very center of London is Zone 1, and as you move towards the borders, you move to Zone 2, 3, 4, and so on. There are up to 9 zones in London, with Zone 9 being the very outskirts of the city. Now, when you travel in the tube, the price depends on which zone you are traveling from and to. The base fare is £2.40, but refer to this table to get an idea of how much you will be charged when going to different zones. So out of the two options, I was personally just using the bus whenever I had to travel. Additionally, if you need help planning your journeys, you can use the TfL Go app to help you out. On a quick note, if you are planning on doing a master's at LCF, you won't need to go to class every day. I personally had classes only 3 out of 5 days in a week, sometimes even 2. So in my budget, I'm going to put down £420, assuming that you take the bus to get to and from the LCF building for 3 days of classes in a week for about 10 months in a year. Now moving to food. As a student, it is best to avoid eating out in restaurants because a simple meal will easily hit about 30 to 40 pounds. So we all just cook food at our accommodations kitchens. I used to cook on the weekends and meal prep for the following week as much as I could. I used to take my packed breakfast and lunch to uni, and the LCF buildings have cafeterias with microwaves where I used to heat my food. Then I used to sit down at the tables and eat. They also have hot water taps for you to make any teas that you like. Now, regarding buying your groceries, Lidl, Aldi and Morrisons are your most student-friendly options for how affordable they are. They also have price reductions very often, so students come here to do bulk of their grocery shopping. A few little more expensive options for supermarkets are Tesco Express, Asda, Sainsbury, Waitrose, etc. But a lot of these are known to reduce the price of their food if you walk in towards the end of the day by 8 p.m. or so. So remember to go in at that time. Another way to save up on food is to make sure you get the club cards or the loyalty cards of all these supermarkets. In this way, you can collect points each time you shop and someday redeem those points to maybe get discounted or even free food. Now, I also need to tell you guys about 2 apps that I have seen students speak a lot about. The Too Good To Go app and the Olio app. So both these apps allow you to find food at very cheap prices. So keep an eye on these apps as well. Now for my budget, it's really hard to budget this food section because everyone's got different needs and will spend differently. But from my research, on an average, students seem to be spending about £50 in a week on food and groceries. So that's £200 for a month and £2,400 for a year. Next, let's move to mobile phones. So we have 3 student-friendly options: 3, Smarty and giffgaff. Each of these 3 have very affordable plans for calling, texting and internet data. Specifically, 3 has 10 GB data packs starting at £10. Smarty has 4 GB data packs starting at £6. And giffgaff has 2 GB data at £6. All these 3 plans have unlimited texting and calling within the UK. Pick according to your needs, guys. But you should also know that London has very easily available Wi-Fi almost everywhere, so you might not need a high GB data plan. All 3 of these options also allow you to order the SIM card online and they will send it to you for free. So when you get it in the mail, put it into your phone and activate it, and that's it. If you want to physically purchase a SIM card, you can just head to a store like Tesco, Asda, etc. and pick one up. If you want one as soon as you land, both Heathrow and Gatwick airports have stores which sell SIM cards, although the prices are known to be a little more higher when they are sold in the airport. So for the budget, let's say that you picked the plan from Smarty starting at £6 for a month, which is £72 for a year. Now let's go to social activities. I personally barely had a social life, guys. I was studying all the time. But you are probably not like me. I'm gonna assume that you want to go to a restaurant, an art fair, or a small concert maybe twice in a month. Maybe spend about £30 at each of these outings. So that's a total of £60 a month and £720 for a year. So we've covered most of it, guys, but I'm gonna add one more part to the budget planner. and that is for miscellaneous expenses. These are expenses that could crop up from time to time. Maybe you need to buy a gift for a friend, maybe you need medicines or a new pair of shoes, etc. Let's keep these expenses at about 30 a month. So for a year, that is 360. And that is it, guys. We are done with budgeting for a year. Our total estimate is coming to about £40,000, which in INR is about 40 lakh. So I hope this video was useful. I hope it gives you a good idea on how much money you need to set aside for 1 year in London. If you are watching and you happen to know any more money saving tips or tricks, please list it in the comments below so that this page can turn into a wealth of resources for students going to study in London. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.